In tonight. So I wanted to read you guys something that I thought was really amazing in a book that I have that I've been reading. And I think it kind of goes along with our topic tonight. So I'm going to start. Some of the most helpful advice I've ever heard on this topic came from Olympic gymnast Natasha Lukin. And this is the preface to the thing that I'm going to read from the author. Natasha's gymnastic career began when she was just 3 years old. By the time she was in grade school, she was already a full-time athlete. As if that's not challenging enough, her father was her coach. The demands of her training were overwhelming. Many days she'd cry to her mother that she just wanted to quit. She didn't want to be a gymnast anymore. Her mother's response was brilliant and instructive. "You can absolutely quit," she said. "You don't have to do this, but you can't quit on a bad day. You have to wait until you have a good day and then you can quit." Inevitably, Natasha would become energized and excited after nailing a new skill or having a great training day, and her mom would say, "Do you still want to quit?" On a good day, the answer was always no. In your own life, never quit on a bad day. Never give up because you're frustrated, tired, or stressed. Never give up because you aren't seeing progress. Never. So I felt like when I read that, wow, that is so powerful. And as coaches, we go through these really tough times. And I just thought that really spoke to kind of what we were talking about tonight.
Yeah, that was so good, Shauna. Well, welcome everyone. It is good to see you on tonight, Monday, July 26th. And my name is Dee Corchin. You're on the Team Time call. We gather here every Monday night to learn together and grow together. And I'm just so glad to see so many of you. And so whether you've been with us for a day, you're checking us out, or been with us for years, I am just really glad that you're with us. And I'm glad that we have this amazing team that we are helping so many people. So just before we launch into our topic for the evening, just a couple of things that I just wanted to make sure we're all up to speed with, kind of our top 3 things. The resolution reboot, that challenge is still going. Congratulations to you and your clients. We just started week 3. It is up to us to really keep the momentum and keep the drive. And I know we're busy, we're heading into convention. It is easy because we have a group that kind of runs itself, but we don't want it to just be running itself. We actually want to be in there supporting our clients, actively commenting ourselves. Our community, you guys, is a vital tool that we have. And a big thank you. And maybe if you'll give a thank you in the comments to our leaders that have been doing the daily post. A lot of effort, a lot of energy goes into those to make them energetic and interactive posts. So I'm just so appreciative for our leaders. I also did a Facebook Live Saturday, I did it. And if you missed it, it's in Coaches Up for Change. But a couple of things, they have officially announced that the shipping times have improved, or shipping and processing times have improved to 9 to 11 days on average. Now, don't put in the comments you have one that went over that, because I'm sure we all have, but the average right now is 9 to 11 days, and it continues to improve. Lots of things and changes have been put in place, including a new distribution center, and it's getting up and running. So projections are we are going to be like up to speed soon. You guys, soon. There was one product that came back. There's a schedule for the other products. So I just want you to know, as we come back from from convention, it's going to feel like vacation. But when we come back from convention, we are going to be on a tidal wave, you guys. So you're going to want to be on the call Monday night next week as we debrief from convention and move with some of the stuff that they'll be talking about. That's going to be fun and exciting there. And speaking of convention, who is excited? If you're like jazzed up, packed, getting ready to go, put it in the comments. It's going to be so fun. Whether you're going to be doing it virtually or in person, it's going to be an amazing experience. And I posted in Coaches Up for Change and in the Facebook group for people who are attending live. Dan Bell created an incredible document so that you can make this a practical experience for yourself. So I really encourage you to print it off. And also before you go, he says, lead from the future, act in the now, write it out. What do you hope to gain from this conference? And then it's a whole worksheet afterwards about what we're going to put into motion and setting new goals and new timeframes. There is an Optavia app that you're going to want to be, if you're going to be there live, you're going to want to be there, because if there are changes, room changes, all that kind of stuff, that will be in the Optavia app. It's been a little tricky, but I got the most current instructions and it's working. So that has been posted today. There's also information in our groups where you can text and get text announcements on your phone. So we're going to try to get together as much as we can there, interact. We're going to have a blast. I wanted to let you know that on Saturday evening to be looking, because your very own Frank and Shauna Davis will be walking the stage. So definitely want to see them there. There's going to be a hallway of success where there'll be all sorts of pictures and there'll be people from our team. Take time to go through there, look for yourself. If you've had a milestone this year, take pictures, make sure you congratulate people. And I wanted to let you know that I am very, very honored to be on a panel during the main session on Friday afternoon. So I'll be speaking. It's going to happen around 2:15 on, they told me 2:19, and I'm pretty sure they run like clockwork, but plan for Friday afternoon. I'm really excited to be a part of that. So I told you a couple of weeks ago, I got together with our top leaders. We talked about what would be some really practical topics that we could talk about as we were leading up to convention. And we all agreed. And I think the feedback has been great that we have had the past 2 weeks on navigating fear, using grit to really optimize ourselves and our business. And then a natural part of really anything of life is that sometimes there's going to be unmet expectations, discouragement, and disappointment. So I really am excited that Frank and Shauna Davis are going to lead this call for us tonight with some awesome coaches from their team. So you guys can just take it away.
Yeah. So if there's one subject that really kind of gets me is disappointments and failures. Not that I enjoy them, but I love to see people that are disappointed, have failures and setbacks, that get back up. That just really gets me. I love to see a winner win. And I love stories like, we've all heard the stories of Michael Jordan that was cut from his high school basketball team and ended up being the greatest basketball player of all time. Thomas Edison, 10,000 attempts at creating a light bulb. I love stories like that. These are people that had failure after failure. And Sean and I have had a lot of them. And probably the reason we don't share a lot of them is because they scare some of you. Some of you just quit. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not going through that. And we've only had half the failures that D has had, right? So you're going to have a lot of failures. But we want some of the leaders on our team to share tonight because they've had discouragements and failures. And these are people that have got back up again and are moving forward. So the topic tonight is navigating discouragements and disappointments. And I want you to hear from some people that are navigating those things. And the first person I want you to hear from is Chrissy. She's a executive director on our team. We're super excited about her. She's a very hard worker, very focused. And every time I reach out to her, she's like working. I mean, whether in her job or coaching business or with her family, she's always working. So she's a hard worker. So the first question is what has been your biggest disappointment and how did you overcome that? So come off mute, Chrissy, and share with us.
Yeah, thank you. I am excited to be here and share with you guys tonight. And I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable because I often tell not only my coaches within the coaching business, but also my team in my day job, like I call it. I tell them all the time that you have to get a little bit vulnerable in order to help yourself grow and then help other people grow as well. So I'll tell you, my biggest disappointment was actually just recently. And my biggest disappointment was surrounding the loss of, I lost a bunch of clients and then a coach all at one time. And I thought, I didn't know. There was a moment when I said to myself, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, this is too disappointing. It's too much. It's too hard. But like Frank said, I'm talking to you tonight and I'm still here because I talked myself out of that. And I got myself back up and brushed myself off. And I thought, you know what? I'm always going to have clients that I'm going to lose for one reason or another. And it has, that's always going to be how it is. And maybe it's not anything I did. Maybe I was going to lose them no matter what, or maybe I can tweak something the next time. So I think as we continue to answer these questions, we'll get more into the why behind that. I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn it over to Shauna. She's going to
Wait,
introduce her.
No, we have 2 more people
Oh,
answering the same
I'm
question.
doing that?
Mhm.
Anybody can do this coaching thing, guys. Anybody can do it, okay? All right, so
Next is Lynette.
okay, here we go. So I'm just going to kind of follow what Shauna tells me to do. So the same question goes to Lynette. So Lynette, I don't want to spoil her story because, but I'm going to give her the same question. What's been your biggest disappointment and how did you overcome that? Lynette is a coach on our team. Come off mute, Lynette.
Hey, thank you, Frank and Shauna. Thank you, guys. Good to see you all and all the excitement for convention. I think when you reach a rank and then fall from that rank or don't meet that rank the next month, that can be very disappointing. So January, February, I became an executive director almost accidentally. I mean, it happened before I even knew it. Frank and Shauna announced it and I didn't even know it. But I think once that happens, you kind of might set yourself up for that goal because you reached it. So a couple months going on, associate director, director, associate director. So one of the things I would say when you don't feel like you've met your goal or what you have already done is to stay connected with your coaches. Everything you're experiencing, they've already experienced. And for me, I had to evaluate my current reality. I had to look at the rocks in my schedule, see where my time was and what I had available. And Frank and Shauna are really good at asking you the deep questions. And for me, I actually adjusted my goals. And now I'm trying to maintain my current rank and attend college and work full time. So I think just to know that it's not a competition. It's not a competition with other people or for a rank. It's about you realizing your own best life. That's it.
Yeah, so that's so good. I had a coach the other day ask me a question. They were comparing themselves to another person. And I said to them, you know what? Stop that comparing. Comparison is a thief of joy. Be joyful for where you're at. So, Lynette, I appreciate you sharing from your heart. Chrissy, I appreciate you both sharing from your heart and being brave and vulnerable. It's not easy. So the third person I want to bring up, same question. Rebecca Davis happens to carry the same last name as we do. She's our daughter. She's also an executive director on our team. And so the question is, what has been the biggest disappointment? How did you overcome that, Rebecca?
Your sound's not up, Rebecca.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can.
So my biggest disappointment is that a lot of people don't actually want to help themselves, but they won't tell you that. They'll tell you instead that you're not capable of helping them for whatever reason. And for me, I typically get, well, you're just some little 20-something-year-old doing a work from home job. Like I'm not credentialed to do this. So for me, it was just realizing that's just an excuse they're giving me. I have really no impact on whether they change their life or not. But then I just started thinking, I do have all these skills and I can plug them into the clients who actually want to change. And I started seeing a lot of success with those clients and actually having some clients who acted like I wasn't capable of helping them come back and tell me they want some help. So that was really cool. So that was my biggest disappointment, was hearing the excuses people give when they don't want to help themselves and how that plays into my fears about how unqualified I am. So that's that. Back to you.
Love that. I think a lot of us experience that. I know I've been through that too. And our internet is unstable. So if we end up popping off, Dee, you'll know that if we keep getting these messages up, it's unstable. So the second question we have, and we're going to go back through y'all again. What has been discouraging building your coaching business, and what specific steps are you taking to overcome that and move forward? Chrissy?
Sure, thank you. I think the most recent, I think the discouragement to me has been a lot of the shipping delays, and what has been occurring, a lot of the fuelings that have been out. And I was discouraged about that until I took a step back, and I actually wrote it, I whiteboarded it out. And I know that sounds really silly, but that's how I've learned how to problem solve. So I whiteboarded it out, and I'm like, okay, if someone says, well, I really liked these fuelings, what is my response going to be, right? And if someone says, well, the shipping times are delayed, what's my response going to be? Because we've all learned, first of all, it's getting way, way better, right? So you can share that with your clients now, which is what I'm doing. Second of all, we've also learned that, hey, if your clients really listen and you continue to remind and reinforce about the delay and when they need to order and when they need to place that next order, it's really only one time. It should be only one time that it's delayed for them. And I'll be honest with you, it took me a minute to kind of think that through and write that down. And I just went through all the questions, and I literally just whiteboarded them out, every question and concern that people brought up to me about it. And then I tried to change the message and make it positive. Hey, you really like this fueling. Well, but have you ever tried this? Because I did, and I didn't think I would like it, and I loved it, right? And maybe it's not something exactly like what you really, really liked, but it's something similar and along the same lines. So I would say, if you reach those things, silly as it sounds, try whiteboarding it out. Or if you're not a whiteboard person, try writing it down and then answering your own questions, because that can help.
I love that. I've never thought about doing that. So write out the concerns that you're getting and then write your answers out. You're really prepared when you do that. That's a great, great tip. Lynette, the same for you, sweetie. What has been most discouraging building your coaching business, and what specific steps are you taking to move forward?
Okay. I think, so we talked about me reaching the rank of ED early on this year and doing the work. We put time into our clients, and it takes time. And so looking at, I was an ED on a client base, and I knew, according to my goals and my current reality, in order to be the best I could be, I needed to bring on some coaches, to form a team with myself. So again, staying in contact with your coaches, which is what I did with Frank and Shauna. Introducing coaching right at the beginning with my clients and continuing to talk about it. Bringing my clients to the coach calls or the potential coach calls with Frank and Shauna, the Zoom. Even if you get a no, it's another opportunity with that coach. So I shifted my focus from gaining so many new clients to building coaches. And I have 2 new coaches in the last 2 months. So I'm very excited about that. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, I guess you could say, and accomplish your goals.
Love that, shifting the focus. And that's what we do when we stop, challenge, choose. We stop, we evaluate what the challenge is, and then we shift our focus and choose to do something different or choose an alternative reaction. So that's really powerful. Thank you, Lynette. Rebecca, the same question for you. What has been discouraging building your coaching business, and what steps are you taking to move forward? Can't hear you again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what's been discouraging for me is kind of along the same lines as the first question. I've really felt like unqualified to do this, and just really struggled to find my place of genuinely and confidently coaching clients, let alone coaches. I didn't even want to touch coaches for a while. I've been so scared of them. but getting myself back on track has really helped me. So over the winter, I just kind of like let my life go, and I put back on a little weight. I stopped working out so much, and I just was eating whatever, how you do. And so I started getting back into the life book, getting back into my personal development, setting my routines back up, exercising consistently, getting my nutrition back on track. And that kind of reminded me of what I loved so much about the journey of losing weight and getting healthy and creating my best self. And what I love so much about maintaining that it's helped me kind of create my own way of coaching while still following the systems and structures. I finally figured out how to genuinely and confidently coach within my niche that I feel comfortable in, and follow the systems and the structures, and take the advice of my mentorship without feeling so much like I'm doing like a copycat job, if that makes sense. So that's what's been discouraging, and that's how I'm getting past it. And now I'm putting coaching out there. I have a couple people interested in coaching. I have one person who, 2 people I talked to over the weekend. So now I feel comfortable doing that. So yay, back to you guys.
Uh-oh, did we lose them?
Oh, yeah, I think we did.
Okay.
Do you want me to just start with the third question?
Yeah, do you know what that third question was,
I
Chrissy?
do.
Okay, just read it out,
do.
thanks.
Yeah, the question is, what
Homework.
advice would you give to someone that wants to give up? So I'm going to get really vulnerable with you guys again and tell you that, when I wanted to give up, I was losing clients and some of the problems with getting the fuelings. And I talked about how I kind of worked through those. And similar to what Rebecca just shared, I was having a lot of personal things happen at home too, right? In my life. And I'll tell you that I was so excited to go to convention, so excited. And this was going to be my first in-person convention, super excited. And I'm not going to be able to go. And it's really disappointing, right? It's super disappointing. And my husband has some medical issues, and we're waiting on something amazing to happen. And I'll share with all of you guys, we're waiting on him to get a kidney transplant, which will be amazing and totally change our lives. But it's been super tough. But I realized that, hey, like I just can't do that. Like I just can't go. So I'm going to switch my ticket, and I'm going to do it online. And I started digging back into my life book just to try to help give me that encouragement and that, hey, this is okay. And it would be ideal to go to convention, but if you can't, you can't, you do the next best thing. Right. And so I think give yourself some encouragement and give yourself some grace. And when you want to give up, think about, okay, no one ever got to where you are today by giving up, right? They didn't. They kept going, and they picked themselves back up, and they kept moving and moving. So that's what I've done. And I hope that you guys take that as some encouragement to always keep trying, always keep moving, because even when you think that you want to give up, there's a tomorrow and there's the next day, right? So keep moving forward. Thank you. Lynette, I think you are next.
Yeah, and we're back. So thank you so much for moving on, Chrissy. So sorry, our internet has been out lately. Go ahead.
Hey, Chrissy, I love what you said. You used the word grace. And the thing that came to my mind when thinking about this question was no guilt. And, that applies to our clients, and that applies to us as coaches, no guilt. And again, don't compete with others. Just live your current reality. Frank and Shauna have a world of experience. Shauna's probably tired of answering the phone for all the times that I've called over the past 3 years, but I have found that staying connected, Frank and Shauna have gifts that are different but work together. And when you need to go deep into your 5 or 7 or 10 levels of why with Frank. And so just rechecking your why about why you're doing this as a coach or as a client. I did that with a client today. So I found that to be very helpful. just taking it to the next level. So
Thank you, Lynette. Thank you so much. I love that you're sharing from the heart, both of you are. Rebecca, same for you. What advice would you give to someone who wants to give up? We're all having connection problems tonight. Yeah, I can't hear you still.
Okay, what about
Don't
now?
give up.
There you go.
Okay, see, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. Okay, so I tend to think that the best advice is the one that annoys you the most. So I'm going to tell you guys what my mom tells me every time I want to give up. So this advice is probably similar to what you guys hear, but I hear a lot of, what else are you going to do? What else is going to get you this much time with your horse? What else is going to make you stay home? So that's kind of the advice that I always think of. I clearly haven't given up yet, so it's worked. It always kind of brings me back to my why, which I left a corporate career because I was tired of driving to work every day, tired of being picked on by bosses, and just tired of sitting there doing 8 hours worth of work I knew I could have done in 1 hour. So it always kind of takes me back to my why. And then I ask myself, well, truly, what else is going to get me there faster, with better systems, with better mentorship, working with better people? So that's my advice for you, is just remember where you're at and maybe what you left in order to get here, and what you're trying to, where you're trying to go, because where you're trying to go and the tool that you use to get there are so important. And this is such a great tool.
Wow, such great shares. I love that each one of you have pulled together something personal and vulnerable. And thank you so much for sharing. You all did a great job. As leaders, you're going to hear from everybody that everybody has had a moment where they wanted to quit. Everybody's had a moment where they were so discouraged that they just wanted to throw up their hands. Everybody's had great disappointments, but we just keep plugging in. And I love that, Rebecca, you wrapped it up so perfectly. You've got to go back to your why. You've got to go back to, why are you doing this? Why did you step into coaching? And what do you want? And I can tell you, if you quit, I know you'll regret it. I've been there. I've been there as to be totally honest with you, I've been there as a global, I had a moment of wanting to quit. So what did I do? I called my coach. That's what I did. And so just always stay plugged in, and I'm gonna let you wrap it up really quick so we can give it back to Dee.
Yeah, so there's not much more I can say. You've heard from awesome speakers. You've heard from awesome Shauna. So I'm just going to turn it over to Dee and let her wrap it up here. We got a few more minutes. Let her wrap it up.
All right. Well, hope you guys are catching all these comments. Thank you, Frank and Shauna and Chrissy and Lynette and Rebecca. Great job. Even with some technical difficulties, right? Navigating some disappointment and discouragement. So thank you. And, I think it really is important to talk about these things, because so often, we do so much celebrating in our business, and we can be over here, like I mentioned last week, thinking, well, la-di-da, because things are not so great over here in my world. And I will tell you that, as a leader, it's true. I mean, just to say this more of as an encouragement, I mean, it is through determination and a decision not to quit that you will get to where you're going. But the most important thing is that you heard from each of these people who shared the growth and the shift in mindset that happened as a result of it. So we always have two choices when we hit a hard spot, right? Like, we can turn and run, or we can lace up our shoes, get some help, and figure out how to run up that mountain. And at every level of leadership, at global, at presidential, at integrated presidential, at least once, I lost my rank, right? Something, because you're depending on a lot when that happens. That has happened. I shared this with a coach the other day, that I went through a season recently of almost 4 months of no new clients, which is totally out of character for me. I've had coaches quit. I've had clients quit. I've wanted to quit multiple times. But just like Rebecca said, whenever I start thinking of the alternatives and I think, well, where would I, earn this kind of income and be able to make great impact? It would be in some job that required me to do a whole lot of things I didn't want to do, and, travel and commute and whatever. So what we have is incredible, and nothing good comes without a fight, right? Nothing good comes without effort and hard work. So thank you guys for being on this call. Hopefully it inspired you that that you do have it within you, and you do have what it takes. Next up, we've got the new client community call. I'll be streaming that into the group. And then that's on sleep and energy. And then we have the coach community call and then Dan Bell. All of the links are in the announcements of Coaches Up for Change. See you guys at convention this week. So excited about that. Love you guys, and see you later in the week.